If the Arab countries united, they were like, if they were, they had some sort of ittihad like together, they would be much, much stronger against the West. Not that it's a competition, but there wouldn't be as many invasions, as many like seeds of democracy planted everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's see, who are the powerhouses in the Arab area, right? You have Saudi Arabia, you have UAE.
UAE.
You have what?
Iran.
You still have Libya.
I mean, Iran. That's.
Iraq is a stronghold.
They're a powerhouse.
Like economy wise.
Oh, economically, yeah, probably.
So those countries don't want to fight against the West. They don't want to unite with the Arabs and fight against the West. They're working with the West for their own benefits. Look where they are.
But that's the problem, don't you think? Because even Syria,
but they don't care about Syria.
Gaddafi used to. There was this speech where he was talking in front of all the Arab nations. He was talking about how, if we just unite together, then they cannot boss us around, like the thing I just said. Yeah. And all the leaders, like even, what's his name? The Syrian president, Bashar Assad. Yeah. And he was laughing under his...
Yeah, because they're too dependent on the West.
Now. Yeah, they're working with the West, and that's the, I think, I wouldn't say problem, but that's what makes them weak.
I would definitely say it's a problem. Being too dependent on them, because they're so ahead that you're obliged to be,
Yeah, but what's the alternative? Not depend on the Western technology?
Well, yeah, if you look at China, if you look at India, they're much less dependent than the Middle East are. And that's because of the fact that, the Middle East is so much blessed with oil, right? So that gives them a reason to intervene. But to be fair, it might also be a coincidence of geography. Because... politically, the Middle East is a lot more, important in the Cold War. If it's ever, let's say the Cold War still isn't over between Russia and America, obviously, right? The Middle East is still really, really important geopolitically, right?
How so?
In where it's based, being close to Russia, being closer to between Europe and Russia as well. As compared to the Far East.
Yeah, China and India are still very close to Russia.
They are close to Russia, but they're not for example, Turkey. Turkey is the closest to the sea for like sea trade and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And Egypt will have what's it called? What's that river in Egypt called?
Nile?
I know this.
Red Sea and some river.
Do you want to ask the Google Home thing?
Okay, Google. It's alright. I don't know where it was. What was I thinking?
It's the thing that the human-made one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
okay,
a canal.
well,
it's a canal or something.
Very important river in the Middle East.
It's not a river, dude. Listen,
it's not a river.
It's a canal.
It's a canal.
Yeah.
Suez Canal.
Oh shit! Nice. Got it.
You see Arabs and Kurds working together.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Nah, but on my point is like Syria, Russia's invested so much into Syria. USA is so invested into Saudi because they're buying so much of their weapons.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's become like a paradox now. USA has to oblige to what Saudi does. So, for example, with Khashoggi, do you remember Khashoggi?
Yeah, I do remember.
So what happened was they killed a journalist, split him up into a million pieces, and USA didn't do anything about it. Why? Because they spend too much money. They get too much money.
They said they were very upset about it, though.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's gonna fucking change the world.
I'll take $1 million with my upset order.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But point is slowly they're starting to catch up. Arguably, would you say they're starting to catch up?
The Arab countries?
Yeah.
In what sense?
In an economic sense.
Yeah,
and
economy-wise, sure.
Not only like in terms of how much money they have, but in terms of economic freedom. We see that in UAE. We see it in Saudi a bit more as well.
I mean, Qatar has the highest GDP per capita in the world right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, if you don't count for all the basically slaves they have from the Pakistanis and like this region of the world.
What do you mean?
Well, they're
basically it's
for the World Cup using
not the World Cup. It's a tradition there to have like every rich family or even every like moderate family have a servant.
They have maids. They have people working for them, but
and they're basically they live with them. until very recently they couldn't have their own passports on them,
Hmm.
right? And they would have only 1 day free a week, and this was
And
also
where would they be from? Pakistan and Philippines and that?
Bangladesh and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not completely against their will, but they don't have
If
much
you come
freedom
from
either.
Bangladesh, you're like, oh, I'll pay you like a bit of money, and then you're basically my slave.
Yeah, no, but do they abuse them?
Oh yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah, because the thing is, they don't have that option of being able to go financially, right? It's like, you know, even here though, we have that here as well. Dude.
We
Kind
do,
of,
but
on a much lower scale.
not much lower.
But I wouldn't call it.
It's cultural there. It's completely fine.
Well, that's not slavery. I wouldn't call it
It's-
slavery. The
It's
the
as
thing
close
that's
as
here.
we have slavery in modern day.
Yeah, he's probably right about that.
I've watched some stuff and read some stuff about that. It's disgusting what they do with them.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're making
Wow.
them do work for making stadiums for 2022 as well. isn't
That one's just brutal. The working conditions. There's expected to have like I don't know what 40,000 people dying until
Yeah.
the World
Mostly
Cup
from
starts.
The heat, which is
Yeah,
insane.
from the heat.
Yeah, or just work until you die from the
Qatar
heat.
won the Asian Games. You know that?
Yeah,
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard was that the bicycle kick? Was it from
Yeah,
them?
apparently.
And people are saying it's like rigged and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
Nah, it
kind of
can't be.
sad now that money can buy
you
you
rig a
trophies.
bicycle kick?
But do you
Oh,
think?
you can't rig a bicycle kick, it's true.
Can you?
But apparently they had like a lot of help from like global coaches and apparently players as well that weren't even Qatari. So I don't know, man. But you know, truth is money can help you go a lot of places. Too.
Yeah, I watched a video on FIFA football or something about how when Iraq won the Asian Cup in 2007,
Mhm.
and about how they had to like overcome death threats and some people got their family members killed and like a whole team of Taekwondo people died.
Wow.
Like they were targeting the sportsmen because they were saying, oh no, like you're against a specific group. Like if they say the Shia groups would target the Sunni players and the Sunni players would target the Shia players and the Arabs would target the Kurdish players, which is insane.
That's yeah.
And they still managed to like we would have our home games in the Emirates.
They've never gone along, have they? When was the last time the Shias and the Sunnis got along? What,
When
like-
my parents got married.
What? No, I think. It was,
Serious?
Yeah.
That's not.
I mean,
so
no.
long ago.
no,
I was
that's
thinking
just
like
two.
thousands
That's
of
just
years
two
ago.
individuals. No, I think it was 1,000 years ago.
It's not that uncommon to like people get along very. It's fine.
Wait. Is your mum a Sunni and your dad a Shia, or the other way around?
Yeah.
Look at this guy going off anecdotes. Like,
This guy's-
my mom and dad are fine, so like.
No, I used an anecdote, sure, but it's fine. Like especially in the middle region, it's people don't give a shit.
Do you think so?
I
Because
know
back
so.
when Saddam was still ruling, there was a huge conflict between Sunnis and Shias.
Yeah, but that was
I mean,
political. That was more than religious. That was purely political because all the Sunnah had the power and he was fucking the Shia over.
Perhaps. What about like you living here now? Like, do you see you being an Arab, a way that you get like secluded out sometimes? Do you ever feel it? Is it more than it used to be? Do you still feel it, and how so?
What do you mean secluded?
Like,
where?
do you ever feel like
an outcast from like this.
For example, yeah. For
thing
example,
is-
a taxi driver treating you different.
How long have you been here? How long have you been in
Almost
Slimer?
13, 14 years.
14 years. You've
Yeah.
actually been.
Long fucking time, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it's not because of like Kurds being nice and stuff. I don't want to take away from you guys, but it's not that. It's because I've created my own bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't.
Nah, but it's not like you don't go outside your bubble, man. You go bazaar, you go shopping, you go.
Yeah, people like it's fine. It's normal. Like, it's complete. Like I never noticed it. I mean, are you gonna ask me have I experienced racism here? Yeah. Obviously, I have.
I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
obviously.
it's the exception, not the
Not the norm.
that
Yeah,
one.
that's the way, right?
What about like your stance on whether the Kurds should become a nation? Not now.
Look,
Maybe in the foreseeable future.
like morally and ethically, and as a like, if you look at it from an emotional side, definitely, of course.
Right.
Right? You guys have your own culture. You have your
Rationally?
own thing. Rationally, yeah. You deserve your own country. Let's say we'll use the word deserve.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
but
is an emotional argument, kind of.
I wouldn't say emotional, but
I would agree with Shad on this one. Yeah.
No, I mean, no, you could deserve something not rationally, but the deserving that he's giving us is kind of emotional. So I would say there's a lot of reason for us to believe that there are many rational reasons for us to deserve a state. You know?
Yeah, I can say that as well. But economically, if you look at economically,
when I think all deserve is kind of emotional because no one deserves anything.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
Go on, but what would you say is
is it realistic? Now.
No.
I don't know.
Oh no, yeah. Now we really killed the chances, didn't we?
You did and other people did.
Of course, yeah. It wasn't like I wouldn't just put it on the Kurds.
I mean, you guys take some responsibility.
Definitely, absolutely.
And I'm gonna get hated.
No.
Would you say that it's not realistic in terms of us being a country, or as in like if we do become a country, we'd be a shithole?
Both.
I get where you're coming from, to be honest.
Look,
thing is like first of all, like we tried to toughen up, right?
Right.
And then Kirkuk got taken from us, right? So that's the first argument, right? Being like we couldn't even unite to fight against the Iraqi army in Kirkuk. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the whether it's feasible or not for us to become a country, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of finger pointing in that.
Yeah,
in that whole month, basically.
Yeah. But
I think you all should solve your own like internal problems first.
We're not united amongst ourselves, and I think that's a big issue that we have in like Iraqi Kurds, like the Kurds in Iraq. Too many divides in the parties, and I think that's one of the things that weaken us. And if we didn't have that, we would have a much stronger argument and a stance, in the government as well.
Yeah. But I mean, the argument is there. Like, should Kurds have a country? Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There are lesser minorities who have countries.
Thing is, this might sound unpopular, but like I was in not my civ class, leaders and statements class. We were talking about how there was this one leader, Cato, back before Julius Caesar, right? Julius Caesar had to, Cato had power, right? And then he had to let go of some power. Otherwise, if he could have stuck with his power, if he had worked with Julius Caesar or Obelius, I forgot his name. Point was, he didn't work with Julius Caesar. He was a very principled man, right?
Yeah.
And he decided he was like he was known for not being corrupt, ever being corrupt, right? So he said, no, I'm not going to work with them. And then he lost all his power. The Roman constitution got totally destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So everything he had worked for his whole life got put down the drain, right?
Yeah.
And what we were talking about in class was whether it's good enough, or maybe sometimes it's worth working with the enemy, if you want to call it the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Iraqi politicians, people in Iraq, Kurds should have better relationships with, and maybe that way we can eradicate corruption in Kurdistan internally. And have better ties and have a better round table for us to speak about eventually having an independent state. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but at first, before we do that, they would have to recognize that there's an issue beforehand, and they have to recognize us as Kurds individually, and not just as Northern Iraqis.
You're totally right.
I think you guys are recognized as Kurds.
No, good. That's when the discussion can start.
Yeah.
So you think there is a chance for there to be better dialogue between the two?
Obviously, yes. But the thing that I'm very hopeful about, the thing that gives me leaves a bad taste in my mouth, is how insincere your politicians are.
Aren't they all? Honestly, I don't want to divert the.
There's bad, and then there's politicians here.
Like Iraqi politicians aren't too amazing.
Where really has them noble part?
I'm not saying they are, but for this specific problem, thing is with them is they will use the idea of an independent Kurdistan to push their own agenda, which just takes so much away from the idea itself.
Yeah.
It takes so much power from it, because then people are gonna say, oh, you just want a country because for this agenda, you want a country for this reason, for your personal benefits.
Yeah.
Right? I think if you just take that away for a second and then work for a country for the correct reasons, you'd have a much stronger argument for it.
So you're saying use the power that you have right now to enforce a better KRG instead of pushing the agenda of independent Kurdistan.
Basically, reduce corruption in 2 words.
How about I have a question. Yeah. Do you guys think, as young people, we're the youth, we're gonna be the next generation to make a difference if we can?
Man. Yeah.
So, do you think it would be smarter for us to approach it politically, or leave the politics and basically approach it socially and do it, make our impact in a different way
I think
instead of going into politics.
you can't make a country without politics. Right?
So we need some of us to
Like,
be.
I think he's saying through legislation.
Yeah.
What
So,
do you mean?
so there's two ways that you can fix the problem, right?
Yeah.
I keep doing this, but the problem, the problem.
It's a real problem, man. It's a real problem.
It's actually a problem, guys.
I'm just saying.
So the problem being the way we'd fix the problem, whether it's through legislation or through raising awareness, right? Through
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
I
you
think
could
the
do that.
second one's really important and will inevitably mean.
Wait,
the
raise
first
awareness
one.
about question. Raise awareness about Kurdistan needing to be a country. People know that.
No, not about needing to be a country, but about having pointing out politicians and being more holding them more accountable.
People know politicians here are corrupt. They just don't want to do anything about it.
They do.
They do, but are they?
No, because
not?
because we're not we're not holding them accountable
Yeah, why aren't
by not voting for them. Does that make sense?
But, I mean, I think the problem is much deeper than the voting system.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
it's more of a tribal thing, and also has to do with the fact that they're getting paid. A lot of these people who are voting for these corrupt politicians are getting paid to do so, and it's in their self-interest, which I'm not totally against. By
It's
the way.
not just the
But you
voting.
can't
The thing
preach
is,
change.
the system is
You can't do
so
that.
deeply corrupted.
Mm.
Like the politicians control most aspects of the private private economy,
Mm.
right? So even if you vote for different politicians, if they're within the same party, if they're within the same governmental system, you're gonna have the same problems. They're not gonna go away.
See,
Because
this is
it's deeply seated. Like you need to hit the problem much differ. Sorry
You're
for
right.
interrupting you.
You're right. Sorry, sir. But there's an argument to be made that if there was an independent Kurdistan, and if it was created, then there would be a new constitution,
Mhm.
a new set of rules whereby the the wrong guys are forced to do the right things,
Mhm.
right? And we'll be able to hold politicians more accountable, because maybe now you'd speak to a Kurdish politician and be like, oh, most of the power is in Iraq. Well, third party here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
first of all, that's just shifting blame.
I'm saying you're right,
Yeah.
but you're eliminating that.
Second
You're
of all, don't you
eliminating
think
that.
that's too?
Idealistic? Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah. Like,
No, no, but there's an argument. I said there's an argument to be made for it.
I'm gonna make it not
Yeah.
corrupt.
Good
luck doing that.
And then I'll show you.
I'm gonna have a blackjack and hookers. Dude, thing is, look, you're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna remove corruption." Good luck.
But the way we remove corruption is because you're saying it's so deeply rooted into our
Yeah, what
system.
you're gonna start
Is you
over?
abolish the system and start from the down up.
And how I think it's really narcissistic of you to think that you can start a new system and not have it corrupt itself.
Say that again.
I think, I'm sorry for being very blunt, but I think
Go
it's
on.
very narcissistic of you to think that
Okay.
you can start a system from scratch and then not have it corrupt itself.
Yes.
So what would be your alternative though? Like live through a system.
No, it's good to enter with that attitude, but it's unrealistic
Like,
for anyone to think that
you're-
way.
No, I don't agree. I mean, look at the American Constitution when it was formed. The founding fathers, for the first 100 years,
It's flawless.
lobbying was like never heard of, right?
Yeah.
And then like
They learned the trick.
they learn a trick, but
Yeah.
you know, I think the Constitution, the American Constitution, is still pretty much really good. So is the Iraqi Constitution. But the thing is,
Yeah.
The Iraqi
Do we
constitution is
follow it though?
good.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it has
It is
so
very
it's
good.
so big though. It's so large. It's so like vague. There's people can still not decide on many issues on
Yeah,
in
I've
the
heard about that.
constitution.
It's actually pretty
The same
liberal.
applies for the American Constitution. Like people, like the whole point of the Jewish system now, like what do you call those, like people?
What people?
The jurors, the big ones?
Juror. Supreme Court.
Yeah. The whole point of the Supreme Court
Wow.
is to argue about the Constitution.
I understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Oh well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. Yeah.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Push that push notification button, and join us again.